I share this brief story, if I can, just
Yeah.
for the young listeners, and overcoming challenges when you don't think you can do it. That was my coming out, I guess, period or moment. It was all over the entire first semester. So as you said, we ran everywhere. And not only did we just run everywhere, we ran in old leather combat boots, the black Cadillacs. And to make matters worse, we put these big old horseshoe taps on our heels.
Yeah.
Just absolutely awful for your body.
Terrible.
Yeah. And whether it was overuse syndrome or I don't recall what the reason was for, but I had really, really bad shin splints. Like, they didn't know who I was. I was the pogue that couldn't run, really for a long period of time, until finally my doctor, I ultimately ended up with a stress fracture. I remember the night we were running down the quad, we were playing Texas Tech, and I finally just collapsed. And it pushed. I mean, every practice I was in tears getting to and from. I ended up having to walk, absolutely embarrassed. This is not who I was. Matt, none of those guys knew who I was, just because I was the turd that was, hurt. So ultimately ended up in a cast up to my hip and was basically confined to my hole for the entire first semester. And all I did was I kept my rifle. They didn't even know it was gone. All my buddies, Daniel Kruzak, the guys, they were going out practicing. They'd come back, tell me the horror stories. And I just sat in my monster and I just drilled and I drilled and I drilled and I drilled. And finally, in the first semester, I squeaked by with a 2.2, and then started to get myself back in shape over the break, running around my neighborhood. My neighbors still laugh at me, have seen me run around in combat boots with a freaking 383 high ported over my head. And I showed back up for Hell Week, and I started drilling, and they were like, "Who the hell is this? Who the hell is this? Who are you?" I didn't know if they were going to let me stay.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't been on the team. I hadn't been officially kicked off or anything, but I just, showed back up. But for whatever reason, and I didn't, that's not who I was. I didn't know I could do that. And for any young listeners, like these challenges that just seemed like they're impossible to overcome, they're absolutely critical in your growth and in your confidence that you can overcome damn near anything.
No doubt.
At that point in time, and they finally got to know who I was and, started to get good at what we were doing. It doesn't matter if we were drilling or not. We could have been playing football, basketball, baseball. It doesn't matter. But it was just overcoming that thing and practicing and being determined that moment, more than any, has probably shaped it. That gave me the confidence to get through at least my fifth year. And then every year after that, there's another set of challenges and goals that you have that, you set your sights on and need to be challenging, and you have to push yourself to get to that thing. And every year it seemed like, it landed and it hit whatever those goals were. And I always thought I was lucky, Brian. I always thought I was lucky. And then you finally, after about 8 years of, things have fallen into place, and you look back and you realize it's not luck. It's not that complex of a recipe. There's no magic going on. It's not natural. I mean, it's just, you set your goals, you work hard at it, and you overcome all those obstacles that come in your way, and you're going to get to those goals, and you're going to be better for it once you do. I mean, that's the message I give to my kids, and sometimes it works, sometimes, it doesn't, but for the most part, Jack was the same way with swimming. So I guess I would say is look for those opportunities, look for those challenges that you can't think you can do, and you do it. Carl Baggett used to, go ahead.
Yeah, no, John, I was going to say, and I could not agree with you more. And I'll tell you one thing that I realized probably late in 2019 or so was, I've been successful financially. I've got a good family. I've got a nice house, all that sort of thing. And so I was getting a little complacent, frankly. And I was like, man, I'm getting soft. I'm turning into a little bit of a wimp. I need to push myself, because like you say, if you just sit around and drink beer and, dip Copenhagen and watch TV and get fat and don't push yourself in any way, you tend to get kind of unhappy. I mean, I was a little bit unhappy. I wasn't putting any pressure on myself. So this year I decided, and by the way, I decided this in late December. I was actually looking at my journal this morning because I wanted to see how things had changed between December 2019 and March of 2020. And to say it was dramatic is an understatement. But, you know, I was like, I need to figure out some things to do to push me. So as a 47-year-old man, I walked into a jiu-jitsu studio by myself.
Yeah.
I felt like a complete idiot when I first walked in. The first couple of times I'm in there, I'm just getting my ass kicked by guys that I outweigh by 50 pounds and that aren't athletic. And it was tough. But I'll tell you, every time I walked out of a jiu-jitsu class, I just had this giant smile on my face. I was like, yes. And like, I just got back, you know, we had to shut it.
Testosterone hard on or something.
For sure. And you're just like, you just feel like this soreness. Like, so I got back into it because we had to stop, of course, during the quarantine. And we just now got to where we could kind of go back and do some real rolling and some sparring and stuff with appropriate precautions in place. But man, I was like, I come out of there, I'm so sore, but it's a good sore. It's like an accomplishment sore. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that applies to going to jiu-jitsu, but it always seems like those accomplishments, those challenges or obstacles, I always have the most anxiety and I'm nervous going into it for the fear of failure.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I overcome that fear of failure, or you know, even if we used to box at IOC, and I was always nervous every time, and I could fight, you know, I could hold my own at least, but you know, a young lieutenant can always slip one in on you and just embarrass the shit out of you. Once you get, which never happened, thankfully, once you get through it, and even presentations, you know, there's that feeling of accomplishment. But it always starts with you know, the jitters or anxiety. When I don't have that in your accomplishment, it's not like it wasn't that much. Growth did not occur, I don't think.
I still get nervous before every trial. I get really nervous. You know, I'm a little bit sweaty and clammy and anxious.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started trying cases, I had a Air Force jet pilot who flew in Vietnam tell me his very first jury trial, he went into the bathroom right beforehand and threw up twice. He was so nervous. And I was like, what? I mean, you flying combat missions in Vietnam where your life's at risk and you're nervous about this. And oh yeah, man, just as nervous. And I still get nervous even today after 20 plus years of doing it. And you know, part of that, John, I think is because I care, because I want the result to be good. But the other part is it's you know, I've heard it said that fear or anxiety is just the flip side of excitement. So one thing I've heard is like, if you're nervous about something, whether it be a presentation or you're going in to, you know, roll with a black belt or something like that, is reframe in your mind that nervousness into excitement. Like those feelings you're having are you know, identical essentially. The feelings of anxiety are the same identical feelings you have when you're excited about something, when you're anticipating something.